Hey guys, those of you who've been following my Instagram and possibly even my YouTube footage know that I've been traveling a lot the past month or so, and I've found a number of fans on my travels, and have been posting them as time allows, and it's taking some time to get caught up. This is my favorite thing that I've found recently. Found this on my recent trip. It was at a salvage store, and it had been there for months as it was priced way too high for anyone else to buy, and it's the most I've ever spent on a fan at a thrift store. But I love these, and they're hard to find, so I got it. This is Nutone's first industrial ceiling fan. We've been calling these a proline, but in fact, they're a Verandah. So, it continues my trend of finding brand new fans sans box. The blades were still in packaging. Motor was not in packaging. This is the factory down rod that was installed on the motor. So, first place I ever saw one of these was in a book. I had a school function. It was either 5th or 6th grade at Barnes & Noble, and we had to be there for hours. And I was very bored. In hindsight, being stuck at a bookstore for hours with, this is before Wi-Fi and cell phones and all that, that sounds great. Go in there and find a Terry Pratchett or Jonathan Kellerman book I haven't read yet and just sit down and ignore everybody. But at the time, I was very bored, and so I went to the encyclopedia section looking for books to see if there was a book on ceiling fans, and there was not, but in one of the electrical encyclopedias, there was a book that had a section on ceiling fans, and the example of a ceiling fan that was pictured was one of these, and it was credited to Hunter. And I said, that doesn't look like any Hunter I've ever seen. And then in 6th grade, I had an art project on display at an art gallery, and the art gallery had a back room that was very large where they did glass cutting and wood cutting and things like that, and they had probably about 9 of these hanging up. And I don't know how I learned that they were Nutone. I really don't know, unless I was just able to put 2 and 2 together that the blades were Nutone, because Nutone's industrial fans are not labeled Nutone, obviously, the way their residential ones are. That art gallery became an electrical contractor, and I've tried many times over the years to buy the fans, and they refuse to sell them to me, but for all I know, they're still there. They still have like 9 of them or so. These are unique. This is from 1980. I'd have to check and see if this predates Verandah Deluxe, and all that. So you may notice they use the blade brackets from the friction drive Verandah. They use the flywheel and the motor mount from the Verandah Deluxe. Canopy is the same one used and mount used on the early friction drives and the early Verandah Deluxe. Same with the blades. As far as I know, this motor housing is unique and only used with these. There's one of these in the museum, and as far as I know, this is only the second one known to collectors, although we do know where there are some hanging, and many of us are trying to get them. So, okay, let's turn the ammeter on. Let's do 0 to high first, so that we can see what our high current is. Ammeter is being wonky. It's been a while since I've used any of this stuff. Come on, ammeter. There we go, much better. Why are we spinning? Is there current coming in from somewhere? It's not drawing anything. Okay, let's go to high. 1.23. So that's quite a powerful motor in there. Well over an amp. See if it drops as it gets up to speed. The literature says you can only use 2 of these on a solid state control. I see why. It's dropped to 1.22. So the real test comes at a distance. Turn the heater off back here. turn this blender fan off back here as well, just to make sure. I'm going to stop the blender fan with my hand to make sure it's not causing any interference. This is the coldest it's been testing so far this year, so I'm having to remember all my routines. It's interesting. I'm getting a distinctly different airflow pattern from this back here than I have gotten from the majority of other fans that I've tested, which is what confused me and why I was turning everything off and whatnot. Normally, and the long down rod could be a factor, but it seems like it have the opposite effect. Normally when you're back here, the airflow is near the floor because the fan is blowing down to the floor and then, you know, going in all directions, including this one, and that's what you feel. And the higher up you are, the less you feel. But I'm feeling a lot more on my face than I am lower down. I'm not kneeling as low as I might always kneel. It's definitely a strong breeze back here. What I can't tell is it more than an original or a good K55 fan or something like that? I think it is, but it's hard to tell. It does not make it solidly into the gold mine category. If anything, it's on the high end of the original and K55 fan category. Okay, spin down. Remember, it is brand new, so these are new bearings. And it is cold. It's the thing that sucks about testing fans on high in the winter. I am brainstorming for a different place to test fans. I love my shop here, but the disparate temperatures makes it very difficult. You know, especially in the winter. The summer, you know, you're testing fans. All right, it's 100 degrees and you're testing fans. Okay. You know. But in the winter, it can get very cold up here. And so if I do a whole evening of testing fans, I can get sick. You know, and the longer I let the space heaters run, the warmer it'll get up here. But I do have to turn off the one that's on the same circuit. Well, I guess what I could do, I have it wired so I could move the fan to a different circuit. Actually, what I do is I move it to the light circuit, and then I just can't turn the louvered fixtures off. I just have to turn the shop lights off. And it's still spinning, huh? It's a long spin down. Yeah, louvered fixtures and so on. But I have to turn it off anyways for the airflow test. So, and I don't like, I get weary of doing multiple things during a video. You know, turning both heaters off and the blender fans off during the video. That's why I've taken to turning two closer to me now off prior to the video, and then only having to worry about the far two during the airflow test. But we'll see. I mean, it's 45 degrees up here right now. If it gets to be 30, then I may be singing a different tune. But like I said, that's why I'm looking for a different different venue. I was thinking about it because, you know, I hope to buy a house soon, but even if I buy a house, basement won't have a tall enough ceiling, and neither will any, you know, bedroom or anything. If I have a spare bedroom I could use, that wouldn't work. And if it's a garage, then I have the same problem with temperature. So, what I need is another commercial project like 12 wings where I can use the space there. Okay, so let's try it with the Decade rig. These were sold with solid state controls, but it should perform well with a capacitor. Okay, that's 2, drawing 0.1 amps. Is there a current rating on this literature? Yep, 1.2 amps, so that's accurate. Hopefully one day the one in the museum can be powered up. Okay, that's 2. Here's 3, 0.15. 4, 0.21. 5.27. Now, if you were to use a Nutone control, this would be your low, and this is a respectable low, I think. What you hear is water dripping outside. It is raining, and as the temperature drops, turning to freezing rain. 6.34, 7.39, 8.46, 9.53, 10.6. This is your medium-low if you were to use a Nutone capacitor-based control. Nutone also sold transformer-based controls, 4-speed. They looked identical to the capacitor-based one. The transformer mounted inside the outlet box. It wasn't a surface mount control the way Evergo's were. $12.65, 13.72, 14.78, 15.84. This is your medium-high with your Nutone control. So the Nutone control will give you a nice range of speeds. Your medium-high is pretty fast, but not indistinguishable from high. Your low is, not drafty, just a circulatory speed. Your medium-low is a gentle breeze. It's a good range. 16.9, 17.95, 18 1 amp, 19 1.05, 20 1.1, 21 1.14, 22 1.18, 23 1.21, 24 1.24, so that's over. Excuse me, high is 1.22. So next up we have the solid state control. And I'm going to come up on it. I can't remember if I mentioned earlier in the video, this is the down rod that came with the fan. This is the factory length down rod. Did not come with a short rapture. Okay. .08 we're starting. It's very slow and so far silent. Eighth of the turn, 0.18. Eighth of the turn, 0.35, and it's absolutely silent. Eighth of the turn, 0.61, and there's a very faint buzz from it. Eighth of the turn, 0.92, and it's a slight buzz. Next eighth of the turn is high, which is 1.18. So I would definitely consider that acceptable with a solid state control. We did 0 to high. I think that's everything since there is no internal speed control on this fan. So there you have it. I did want to point out, it says here, turn off electricity when wiring fan. Okay, we know that. Minimum ceiling height, 9 foot 4 inches. How is that with this down rod? That can't be. That involves a minimum of 7 feet between floor and fan blades when fan is installed. Does it come with different lengths down rods? Doesn't say. Because again, this one came with this down rod and it was in the packaging. So, center fan location must be 28 inches from adjacent walls to allow minimum clearance for fan blades. Ventilation areas up to 30 feet high. Use one fan for every 2,500 square feet of floor space. Place fans near constantly opening doors and shipping bays to produce an air shield. Air shield? Effect that helps keep dust. Looking at the camera and the reading at the same time, not smart. Helps keep out cold air in winter and dust, odors, and insects in the summer. If desired, fans can be installed directly above heat-producing machinery to reclaim the heated air. For maximum airflow, fans should be located above aisles and warehouses and storage areas. Everything else is pretty standard. You can get an optional swivel mount for beam sealing. Lifetime warranty, Nutone Scoville. Madison on Red Bank Road, Cincinnati, Ohio. Printed in the USA, 1980. Well, there you have it. The Nutone, and just to make sure, because I won't remember, IDPF-48. Thanks for watching.